How's it going, everyone? Mike here, and in this video, I've got some big updates for Dragon Age the Veilguard. Plus, I want to talk about the latest controversy going on with the game as well, too, because this doesn't make sense at all why they're doing this, and I feel like it's an insult to the fans, honestly, the gamers that are more than capable of handling, the combat system of the older games, and the combat system should relatively be the same at its core in the Veilguard as well, but apparently the devs feel different. We're going to get into that and more in this video. So Dragon Age the Veilguard will feature the largest city in franchise history, apparently. This comes from the creative director John Epler and director Corinne Bush. We're still waiting on to get more major details shown for this month. I'm imagining at Gamescom is when we're going to get like new footage of some kind, showing off about the game, and even more details talked about, possibly a release date, hopefully, too. And the wait's nearly over, guys, to discover the new Dragon Age the Veilguard, the fourth installment of BioWare's RPG franchise, which brings together a group of heroes led by Rook to stop the new threat looming over Thetis. This takes place 10 years after Dragon Age Inquisition, and BioWare is set to return to its RPG series with a game more focused on combat and action. It's already been confirmed it's not an open world game, too. And honestly, that's fine. Like, Dragon Age 1 and 2 were not open world games. They're more linear. Dragon Age Inquisition is open world, which is like the first one. So this being linear or more linear focused is not a bad thing. Devs claim, though, the combat system is going to be, labeled as the most enjoyable to date. I don't know about that because of what I'm going to go into in the controversy here in a bit. But yeah, the largest city is going to be the new main city of the game, basically. It's going to be, the largest main city we've ever seen in the series that they're creating, formulating, everything like that. Potentially, now I'm just speculating here, could be on the same type of, largeness of maybe either Baldur's Gate 3, where it comes to Baldur's Gate, maybe. Could be, but I know those are totally different games because that's CRPG, and the Dragon Age Veilguard is a third-person action RPG. Both BioWare leads explain the reason behind this decision and surprise us by revealing that the game will feature the largest city in the entire series. The mission structure design is a plus for the team, as it allows them to focus more on a narrative and character development. Pacing was the key factor to consider. The main city that I'm talking about here is called Minrathous. It's currently undergoing expansion, and players will be able to lose themselves in its streets, considered like a large open area, basically. And regarding the combat system, the devs highlight two elements that are crucial for the proper execution of battles: the tactical camera and responsiveness. Combat primarily centers on Rook, so you won't have to worry about controlling all 7 of the protagonist's companions. Despite the faster-paced combat, they recommend using the pause function to plan each action. Pay close attention to the skills as well. It will be important to consult the skill tree, as it indicates whether you can combine attacks and perform combos between different characters. Narratively, BioWare confirms that the companions in the Veilguard will be almost as important as Rook. There are many side quests that delve into each character's past, though they acknowledge that players will have their 2 or 3 favorite characters. An important note is that the companions have their own personalities and do not depend on Rook in any way. They will have their own narrative arcs that players can discover. Now, in regards to the controversy over the combat system itself that I want to dive into here, Dragon Age the Veilguard's combat system is more action-oriented. That's not my issue there. It's more action-oriented than its predecessors with some fundamental changes. Players will only be able to choose 3 abilities or spells when embarking on quests, with those chosen 3 occupying the only available ability slots. Rather than choosing 3 companions to accompany Rook on quests, players will only be able to choose 2 companions and will be able to control them beyond giving them orders in battle. That is where the issue is, because the previous games allowed you to switch between each of the characters, your companions that is, on top of your main character, in combat and control them, not just give orders. That is a big, in my opinion, big, like, step down, just a freaking screw up, like, what? Now, I know this was done in Mass Effect 1, where essentially you just give orders to them as well, but I could have sworn at least in Mass Effect 2 and 3 you could switch between and control the characters as well, too, if you wanted. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, though. So this has caused the community to be mixed on this. Like I said, I have no problem it being, single player action RPG and everything like that. We mainly control Rook, the main character, right? But in combat, I don't see why we cannot control our companions. Like, especially when we had games not too long ago where they're action RPGs or like a hybrid of turn-based and action, and we can switch between characters and play as them. Now, it's probably not fair to compare this to Baldur's Gate 3 because that's a CRPG, and using CRPGs and turn-based, RPG combat games, you can control your characters in combat. I'm more so referring to the recently released earlier this year Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where you can control all your party members in combat, switch to them, and then even got party members that are sort of like still kind of in the combat, but are more of like on the outside of it and still kind of being a part of it without actually controlling them. Like, I don't know. I know it's a different dev team, that's Square Enix, and this is BioWare, but at the same time, if BioWare has been able to do it before in their past games, and it's supposed to be like a next-gen game or whatever the heck, with updated visuals and quality of life stuff and everything like that, why does it feel so limited? Like, we're already going down to a three-party system compared to the four-party system in previous games, right? That's already a downgrade there, technically. And then we're limited on our skills, only 3 abilities and or spells, whatever, in comparison to the previous games. Like, why does this feel like a dumbed down version in some ways than the previous games? And some of you in the comments might be like, well, yeah, it is, Mike, compared to the other games. It's just, I don't know. I feel like this is gonna not do as well as they hope when it launches. BioWare, EA, like, y'all need to fix this, in my opinion. I'm hoping that either before it launches or maybe day one patch or maybe in a post patch, they at least fix some of these issues when it comes to combat. Allow us to control the 4 characters, or allow us to switch between the other 2 companions, at least in combat. Do a patch that fixes that shit, man. Like, come on, this is ridiculous here, in my opinion. When you got other games that are AAA and AA and indie that allow you to do that. It's basically coming off that they're like, well, our combat system's just, more complicated overall this time, more complex, that we didn't want the players to, I guess, I don't know, struggle or whatever. But then at the same time, it's kind of an insult to us as players that are used to this and wouldn't have an issue with this. Don't get me wrong. I know there's people out there who are on different levels of gaming and gaming skill that they would probably struggle with trying to, keep up with all the different characters in the party. I get that. That's why you have it be an option. Have it be optional. Have it be a feature, because other games have done that shit before too, or other developers. Have it be an option where if you want to, you can give orders only to your party members, or you can switch between them. Come on now, BioWare. Come on now, EA. You got the money. You got the resources. I'm pretty sure you got the talent. Come on now. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know. I still want to get the game just to at least cover for you guys and let you know how I feel about it and anything like that, and stream it and make content around it. But at the same time, this really, really kind of pisses me off and, like, puts a bad taste in my mouth and stuff like that. But let me hear from you guys. You sound off the comments below. What do you think about this? Which side are you on when it comes to the combat system and everything like that? And I know probably a lot of y'all are just not going to get it at all. They're just going to pass on this game. But yeah, I still would love to hear from you guys when it comes to your input on this. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up. It helps out a ton. Subscribe if you're new. My name's Mike. Thanks for watching.